This podcast is a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to find out more. This episode of Harry Potter and the Boys is brought to you by Radio Mike on Patreon and the 20th Century Boy podcast. If you like this show the same way Harry loves Quidditch, maybe you would think that maybe Harry would give $1 a month to his favourite Quidditch team to support them. And if you see this show and the laughs you have while listening like a Quidditch team, and this is a terrible analogy, patreon.com/radiomike, $1 a month. If you enjoy the show and you want to support the show and help us keep it coming out regularly, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/radiomike. It means a lot. Anyway, let's get started with today's episode and the next chapter of the fanfic. 50 years after the final Harry Potter book, Harry Potter is now headmaster of Hogwarts, ready to usher in a brand new generation of witches and wizards. My name's Radio Mike, and I love Harry Potter. In fact, I love Harry Potter so much that when I was a kid, I wrote a series of 7 Harry Potter fan fiction novels. This is book 2 in that series. Welcome to Harry Potter and the Team Wizard Tournament. Everyone, welcome to how do I start this again? Harry Potter and the Boys, a fan fiction podcast by me, Radio Mike, Book 2, the Team Wizard Tournament, and Zach Miller is back. Oh, it is so good to have you here, man.
Mate, it's a pleasure to be back on. It is my favourite mock Harry Potter teenager writing about dicks and Chopinopolises and it's fantastic to be back, mate.
It's a niche category. They don't have an award like Australian Podcast Awards category for this kind of pod, unfortunately.
No, and as many letters as I write into the Australian Podcast Awards, they still they don't seem to get back to me.
Well, it's amazing to have you back on. We're giving Sam Garlep a break. He's done fantastic this season, mainly just because I've been lazy and he's been available, right? But it's so good to have you back. Featured pretty heavily in season 1, back for season 2. Do you remember your last appearance?
Oh, I couldn't tell you the last appearance. I mean,
do you remember any of your appearances?
I remember I've appeared twice.
No, I reckon you've appeared at least 4.
Really?
I think so.
I've appeared at least twice.
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly look it up. Let's just look up your name in the podcast.
I mean, there's got to be, maybe 3. Regardless, I mean, book 1, what a crescendo.
This is your 5th appearance. Yeah. So,
5-timers.
Chapter 5, Welcome to Hogwarts. Chapter 13, The Really Weird Warning. What was the warning, Zach?
Do your research before you jump on the pod. I think that was
Chapter 26, The Journey with Derek, and Chapter 31, Legame Patente. So there you go. You've got a wide breadth of the book.
Yeah, and a lot of character development through those chapters. And I've noticed coming into the second book, much like the originals by J.K.
Yeah.
I feel like there is a lot of growth in the maturity of the content as well.
Okay, yeah. What did you notice?
Well, I noticed in the first book, there are a lot of jokes about farts. In the second
and
joke,
there still are, but go on.
Sorry, the second book, a lot of jokes about dicks. Yeah. So we're really like...
We're going all through the body.
Yeah, exactly. This is like... I think farts like really peak at humour when you're 12 and still great.
Yeah.
But then dicks come in at 13.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's sort of where we're going.
Stiffies and stuff like that.
Stiffy, one of the great word, boner.
Well, boner has not really appeared. It's almost like I didn't know the word boner yet because Stiffy is getting a run.
Well, I mean, aloha boner. I'm trying to think of other ways you could have folded this into the lore. One of the things that surprised me about this book...
Because can we just say, when you came in, you were listening to the most recent ep and you listened to the previous one. But other than that, you have no context for the book. So
I don't.
surprised you?
Unfortunately, been flat out.
Yeah.
I've been absolutely
All
flat
year.
out. I've been away.
Yeah.
You know, this book isn't published overseas.
You could have podcasted from overseas though. Wouldn't you have just done that?
The feed didn't come through.
Just wouldn't download.
I was searching it every day, man. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Sorry,
man. Well, that's all right. We'll give you all the files, so there's no excuse.
Yeah, that's on you. But no, I've been playing catch up, listening to the last two. So I understand the broad context that this is also based on or it echoes a bit like Star Wars. It echoes each chapter, each book.
Yeah. Okay.
So this has got a little bit more of Chamber of Secrets, but we are doing the Team Wizard tournament.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that because the first half of this book was focused on the Team Wizard tournament, but then one student, Gorby Bolonsky, was killed in the Team Wizard tournament, and Harry said, well, we've got to put a stop to this because, children can't be dying at school. So then they stopped, and then it started following the Chamber of Secrets route.
I see. Okay. Yeah. And I think the strength that you showed as a young man, not to call it the Bi-Wizard tournament.
Probably didn't even know about bisexuality.
Well, you should have been more curious. But there's an opportunity for a later
something
title.
else to think about. What did you, in listening to the previous two chapters, because I might have to do a lot of explaining in this chapter, what did you pick up? What are some plot points or characters?
Oh, well, I've certainly, it seems like we have a new villain in the fold who's been chopping off, dismembering a lot of...
Peni?
Peni?
The plural of penis?
Which is an issue. So that really, I think the stakes are higher.
Do you remember his name, that character?
I'd say
Clownish Kim Jiri.
And I can't believe I didn't remember it. That's egg on my face.
It didn't come to me, but it's just so clear.
Yeah. So Clownish Kim Jiri, obviously, he's come in and I tell you what, bad operator.
Yeah.
We've still got, Harry Potter, headmaster, head of giving head, which is great.
So that's another plot point.
Oh,
Harry,
man, it's so embarrassing. The regular listeners will be like, who's this?
Harry was actually stripped of his title as head of giving head.
Right.
And it was awarded instead to Seamus Finnegan.
Oh, okay.
But in about chapter 12, Seamus was killed by Mr. Charger, the evil potions master. So now I guess there's no head of giving head.
Right. There's a vacancy. I've been told I'm not bad. But Seamus, and I guess the running gag through the original films, and I'm sure the books, is that Seamus, whatever he does, it blows up in his face.
Yeah.
So as the head of giving head, I imagine
it's a similar recurring
plot points. It's rhythms, it's poetry, it rhymes. But
I feel like through this short discussion, I've actually pretty much told you all the major details of the book. So basically,
I mean, one of the cliffhangers that I was left on in the most recent listen is whether the centaur
made it to the toilet,
and whether they embarrassed themselves by going into the wrong room. Yeah, two to the left. Nay. Three.
Can we also ask, do you think the writing's improved for book two?
No, absolutely not.
No, similar level of writing.
I would say, if anything, it's gotten worse.
It's gotten more distracted.
Yeah, like a little bit more rush. But I would also say, like, there's definitely more artistic freedom.
Yeah, there's more liberty.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're experimenting, and that I can really respect because you've got to take chances.
Okay, well, this is awesome. I'm so glad you're back. And as always, I think if you have any questions while reading the Double F, I want you to ask them. And I want to unpack it. As always, you've heard the show. You've been on it at least 2 times before.
Yep.
You're good at this, Zach. So let's get the laptop out.
Thanks, mate.
Gonna unlock it.
With the boys.
Gonna do a cheeky Aloha Mora on this bad boy. Excuse this interruption, teachers and students. Just a reminder that Derek is a disgrace to all wizards. And also... just a reminder that you can support this show on Patreon, patreon.com/Radio Mike for as little as $1 a month. That's $12 a year or 3 coffees a year. If you would buy me a coffee 3 times a year and hang out with me, and you think that your experience listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're having a lot of laughs. You just, in the car right now or on a walk or doing chores around your house and, we're saying something really funny from my fanfic and you're going, ha, that's funny. If you think those laughs are worth $1 a month, jump on the Patreon, patreon.com/Radio Mike, or you can go to paypal.me/itsradiomike to support me there with a one-off donation on PayPal. It really, really helps out the show, and it means I can keep focusing on getting the show out consistently every week like we have been for the past month or so. So I implore you, patreon.com/Radio Mike, jump on for as little as $1 a month or more if you're generous. Basically, any amount of money that you won't notice going, just chuck it to me and this podcast because it all really adds up and helps a lot. So thank you so much. Let's get back to the fanfic. Whoops, I was doing a little bit of a read ahead just to see what's coming.
A little bit. This is you scrolled up like 400 pages.
Now, I will remind you, you didn't make it to the end of the last chapter, but the last sentence of the previous chapter before this was, the boys rushed out of the office, that's Hermione's office, hoping and praying that the next chapter wasn't another one of those filler chapters. Now, Zach,
fingers crossed.
As always, we start by reading the title of the chapter.
Chapter 22. Hagrid teaches potions, aka another filler chapter. So that is unfortunate for HP and the B.
You know, there's an episode of Family Guy where, like, within the first 5 minutes of the episode, and I've been a staunch defender of early days Family Guy on this show, love it, and it's like, within the first 5 minutes, it becomes clear that the main plot of this episode is going to be about Meg, and then Peter actually turns to the audience and goes, "That's right, it's going to be a Meg episode. The remote's right there. No one would blame you."
I tell you what, I don't know if I've heard it before. Not a bad Peter Griffin.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've heard
thanks,
way
man.
worse. So
I do a good Peter Griffin laugh. Do you want it?
Can you save it? No, yeah, hit me. I was going to be like, do it during the chapter. I was like, that's just going to
Just, yeah.
absolutely take us.
I'll do it
off
for
the
all the
highway.
listeners. I'll do it. Ready?
Yeah, that's great.
That's pretty. You do one. You do
No,
one.
I was going to say it will stink.
All right. Well, let's get into the chapter. I assume Hagrid is going to be teaching potions, but you never know with this book, so let's get into it.
Well, yeah, you do never know. Hagrid teaches potions, aka another filler chapter. I'm glad I came in today.
No, also, one, the original Harry Potter never really had filler chapters. Like, everything was relevant.
Nor did they draw attention to it.
Yeah.
Should it even be slightly?
If anything was filler,
Yeah, not a lot of side quests.
no. It's all main quest.
Yeah.
But even sort of in games where there's side quests, they're never like, oh, this is just filler. This
Yeah.
is just padding. They try to make it relevant.
Well, yeah, but that's where this author's taking chances.
That's true. He's just
He's just like
taking risks, and that's probably why it got published.
yeah, exactly.
All right, let's take it away for Chappie 22.
The school year continued trudgingly as it went on, continuing through the trudge of the year that was ongoingly going on and continuing to progress continuously in a trudging fashion. That just beautiful.
It's
what
poetic, isn't it?
And is that not some of the best filler you've ever heard? Because that is a sentence
It's
that
true.
really could have been summated in about 5 words.
Yeah, the year was going on, basically.
Yeah.
This is just time is passing, right? And what I love about it is, one, trudgingly, not even a word as far as I know.
No, the red line underneath it would
Indicate.
suggest.
But you know what? I feel like it feels like a word. Like, I feel like I know exactly what trudgingly means.
Yeah, you know what it means, but you hear it and you're like, this is the first context I've heard.
Yeah.
Like, continuously great, like trudgingly, like to trudge, which is a reference for A Knight's Tale.
Oh.
They talk about trudging.
Oh, really?
They do quite
I've
a
never
bit.
seen that movie.
Whoa, buddy,
I
don't want-
haven't.
We
I've
haven't even
stolen
made it
it.
through one paragraph, and we're already making recos. But yeah, look, if you haven't already, just fun for the whole family.
Yeah,
A
okay.
Knight's Tale, Heath Ledger, 2001,
Okay.
I believe.
There you go.
Great stuff. Peter Beattie.
Okay.
Paul Bettany.
Oh, Peter Beattie.
Peter Beattie.
Paul Bettany is in from WandaVision, like from
Yep.
the Marvel Cinematic. Yeah.
Yes, Vision.
Peter Beattie.
Peter Beattie. Also good. Also there.
All right, so the year is trudging on.
Anyway, this podcast is trudging on continuously. Several other students had become petrified and had their dicks cut off.
Oh, terrible news.
I feel like that could have used more context.
Yeah. Enough about the year, moving on. Just tell us more about the dicks.
The dicks are gone, but all of the boys were safe with their dicks for the time being.
That's good to know.
That's what I strive for as well. They were all trying to make the most of their dicks. Again, you get the right angle when you're taking a pic. You make the most of it. They're trying to make the most of their dicks, taking them out for walks, going to the beach with them, and masturbating as many times as possible. And maybe even the strip club as a bonus extra treat. So
we do have to unpack this,
a few things here. Any walk you go on is taking your dick out for a walk.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I love how the author tries to make it sound like a dying dog. Like, your dog's in its last week. We're going to put it down next week. We'll cook it some steak, take it out for a long beach walk, just let it run in the mud.
And then when the kids ask what happened, you say, well, he's in a better place. He's in a big paddock. He's galloping around with all the other dicks.
Yeah. Just all the dicks at the farm. Yep. Grandpa's looking after them. And also, maybe even the strip club.
Yeah, which is pretty wild for a few young lads. But again, this is the Wizarding World, so no rules really apply.
Yeah, that's true. But I also it sounds like Mike at age 13 or 12 didn't know didn't really get strip clubs. It's like maybe
assumed you could take your dick out in a strip club, and I'm not a big strip club guy, but I know that is frowned upon.
That's a no.
They're not big on that.
Boobs are allowed to be out. Dicks, no.
Yeah, depending on which club you're in.
Depending which club, actually.
But not yours.
Not the one I'd be going to.
But not like your... Yeah, anyway. Yep, that's right. It's going to be another filler chapter. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. This is like watching Dragon Ball Z on Cheese TV every morning before school. It takes Goku literally 50 episodes to charge up one Kamehameha attack. Everything is drawn out. It's all filler. Also, Krillin has no hair and is really short. What's up with that?
It actually says, what up with that?
What up? Yeah, what up with that? What up with that? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, this is shades of 06 here.
Yeah.
A few things. You being aware of filler episodes at this age is a credit to, because I reckon I was like 23 by the time I was like, wait a minute.
Some of this stuff isn't relevant.
We could trim the fat on this.
Well, but I think it's because all of Dragon Ball Z was filler.
That is so true.
There were 2 episodes where stuff happened and then 50 where nothing happened.
Yeah, they're like, we have to fight Frieza, but before then we've got to get through 8 waves of henchmen.
Yeah.
No, these guys are my real backup.
Exactly. And then Krillin has no hair. I actually do always remember thinking, why does Krillin, and for those who don't know, Krillin is a character in Dragon Ball Z and the wider Dragon Ball franchise, had no hair.
Yeah, he was
adult
bald.
man.
But if you remember... He does grow hair.
Yeah. And he marries Android 18 or something, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think there's more suspension of disbelief in Dragon Ball Z than there is in Harry Potter and the Boys. But they also conceive a child. I don't want to get into too much
because she's an android, isn't she?
Yeah, I think there's Dragon Balls, there's wishes, a lot of stuff.
You don't really know.
Fan theory was that Krillin wished for hair, but I do think... when you can resurrect people from the afterlife, and you're like, you know what I would like? Fucking number 2
some
on the sides.
cheeky locks on
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this is the narrator acknowledging, all right, guys, it's a filler chapter.
It's impressive that you, as a young man, also felt the need to pad out your narrative, basically.
But it's also it felt like in the last few chapters we were really heating up towards the end of the book.
And that's why I'm so glad I came in here.
Yeah. You're just
and it makes me feel better about not having full context.
Yeah.
Because this is, we're talking about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
We're talking about continuously trudging.
And again, this episode of the show is trudging continuously, ongoingly, in a continuous trudging fashion.
Let's continue to trudge.
Yeah.
But here's what I can tell you, dear reader, about this particular book that you are reading.
I like this.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to remind you of something that I explicitly stated at the beginning of the book, which I will copy and paste right here. This book is stupid, underlined and in bold. Don't expect anything more from it. If you're going into this book expecting it to be good, then don't expect that.
Yeah, and that was in chapter 1 of this book. So I think it literally started as like Winston Charger was on the beach walking down at night and then it's like, hi, I'm the narrator and welcome to the book. The first thing I want to tell you is this book is stupid.
I do like that the narrator's really, I mean, he's always carved the space out for him.
Yeah.
Or she.
Yeah.
They.
we don't know.
I don't want to make any assumptions. But now, yeah, they're really finding a groove.
Yeah.
Right? Got it. Okay. But there's something that isn't stupid. This book. No, wait, this book is stupid. Sorry, that was the wrong thing. There is a twist at the end of this book, and it'll blow your mind.
Okay.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised about how this clownish Kimjiri business resolves. How the boys come out on top once again, thwarting Mr. Charger's evil schemes. Just quickly.
Yeah. This is now Zach talking,
This is
not
me.
the book.
Yeah, sorry. I will need to find a narrator voice.
Yeah, it's really hard to
It's
tell.
really like me with a slight more baritone. Clownish Kimjiri. Where's Kimjiri? Is that like something you have with your sushi or like
Kimchi?
Hey man, can I have some Kimjiri? You know what I mean? Like it's.
It does sound like that, doesn't it?
Where was that inspiration?
Not sure.
Okay.
I don't really
Maybe
know with that.
One of the cliffhangers will be left with by the end of this book, I'm sure.
And the inspiration for that name was find out in the next book.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay, back to narrator.
Back to narrator. Well, I've basically just told you that everything ends up okay for the boys in the end. So I suppose you could stop reading. But realistically speaking, you'll miss the big twist at the end of the book. And I think that big twist will make the next chapters and chapters leading up to it so much more worth it.
Okay.
Okay, so the upsell here is strong.
You wouldn't want to be let down at the end of this book, which
Where we're really hitting at the pain points, so like the fear of missing out in the reader. Like, well, I can't put it down now. The author bloody told me.
Yeah, he said I could stop reading, but the twist, like I know they're going to win, but there is a twist.
And you can't, I like this strategy because in most contexts, you do know there's going to win, that they're going to win, but you're like, but there's something.
There's got to be something.
We got something.
All right.
Although, while you're trying to speculate on what's going on, I'd like to remind you that I, the narrator of this godforsaken book, am just the messenger. And as they say in showbiz, don't shoot the messenger.
Isn't it break a leg?
They've got a lot of sayings in showbiz that I don't know if the messengers are a part of it.
Yeah, I've never been working on a show and someone's like, hey, before we get out there, don't shoot the messenger.
What's the message?
Okay, yeah. Like, we literally work in showbiz, technically, and we've never heard that, guys, so...
We work in showbiz like someone who works at McDonald's is in...
a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, we're on the outer rim.
Yeah, we're in...
Actually, you're more in it. You have
no, we're on a similar level.
I didn't want to...
We're the outskirts of the biz.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as we know, in the outskirts, not a lot of messenger chat.
Yeah, we don't know about, like, the big dogs, but, yeah.
All right, then, let's continue.
I love our...
And that's the narrator, by the way. That's not me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just should clarify.
Yeah, that was a hard one to tell. I love how nothing so far in this chapter has been related to Harry Potter at all.
No, really, or the book or anything. But
It really is filler.
yeah, we haven't even really talked about Hagrid and potions.
So and we've been going for 22 minutes.
Wow,
So you just know that this is going to be a laugh central right here.
Here it comes. Leading up to the end of the year, Mr. Charger apparently needed to take 1 week off work to focus on my masturbation problem. And haven't we all been there, boys? Taking a week off?
Hey,
Yeah.
imagine saying that to your boss. Hey, I need a week off. I've got a masturbation problem.
Yeah, you take as much time as you need.
Yeah, but do you reckon having a week off will help that or hinder it? Like,
Yeah, I
don't
would
you
have thought
think you
you'd
could
really-
masturbate more?
You'd relapse
Yeah.
pretty hard. I need to take a week off work to focus on my masturbation problem that was impacting my ability to teach the class effectively because I'm constantly just thinking about masturbating.
Can I actually pause? So these are in quotation marks. So it's like Mr. Charger needed to take 1 week off work to And then it's like,
That's
focus on my masturbation problem because it's impacting my ability to teach the class. Like, this is what he told Harry Potter.
Yeah, he was trying to be like sus about it. Yeah, that's so true. And sometimes I even leave the class halfway through to go masturbate.
Which is so inappropriate.
It is inappropriate. That's a tough conversation with HR.
Yeah.
Absence, reason, vacation, holiday, other.
Yeah. Addiction.
Description, rehab.
Oh, God.
Harry Potter was completely understanding. Again, he's one of the boys. He's been there. He was completely understanding, explaining that you only get one dad. Okay.
What?
Where did I was like, where did you do only, you know?
So he's like, yeah, I've got to take a week off work. I've got this masturbation problem.
Mate.
You only get one dad, mate.
This is what I mean about, like, it's definitely, it's taken another level. Like, this is
The absurdity.
the suspension of disbelief is absolutely at the, but I'm still there. I'm still in this world.
But it's like a chess game between Mr. Charger and Harry Potter. Like, they're just trying to out absurd each other in this moment. Like,
honestly. You only get one dad, and okay, probably could have used a bit more context, but let's say you only get one dad, and if he's sick, you've got to go be there for him in his last moments.
what? So
Mr. Charger was confused, and so were we.
So were we, yep.
Because he didn't actually mention a sick dad at all, and realized it was a much better excuse to get out of work and do some evil scheming shit than focusing on your masturbation problem. Great reveal there as well.
That's
that
a
he
good-
never had a masturbation problem.
No.
He's just trying to scheme. Which says a bit about his scheming, that it's so bad
Yeah.
that
He'd
going home
rather
to masturbate.
Yeah, but it's funny that I think one of the gags here is that of all the excuses you could have come up with to have a week off work, i.e. my dad's really sick at the moment, right?
Yeah.
He's gone with, I'll tell Harry I've got a masturbation problem. He'll have to let me go, which is just something you'd never say.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, you wouldn't.
Depends.
Definitely
Depends
not.
how bad it was, I guess.
Yeah, that's very true. You got to be honest. Besides, Mr. Charger thought, it's not like I have a problem with masturbation.
Just a typo.
Just a typo there.
Problem.
I only do it 27 times a day. Okay, fine, 28 times on a weekend. But I'm telling you, I have friends who are debating.
That actually popped up in an earlier chapter where Harry was burying Seamus Finnegan's body.
Yeah.
And then Hermione walked in on him in the forest with a shovel, like burying the body. And he's like, oh, just been debating.
Is this been like, is that Tibetan? Like, it's got to go. No, I can't even. I'm trying to think of the accent where that
debating.
fits.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No.
Who's not saying the mass?
Yeah, the
It's
mass.
like,
The mass
been
is
debating.
really, it's really just debating.
Yeah.
Debating.
Debating.
Without the mass. I have friends who are debating at least 800 times a day.
Wow.
That's a high click.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I'd kind of
You'd probably
more
be dead.
impressed.
Yeah, it's an impressive problem.
Could
and
you
some are.
imagine the burn?
Yeah.
Your
Your skin, you'd be on your last layer of skin. I
like
reckon.
just the fact that you could climax
so
Still,
much friction.
after like the fourth.
Yeah. We've all been there, boys. And girls. Girls, you get it. Yep. Holler if you get it. I do this every app. Send an eggplant emoji if you get it. Every app I tell people to send an emoji.
Oh, well, they should. Yeah,
So send an eggplant
absolutely.
emoji.
If you've been Tibetan, at least 800 times a day.
Send an eggplant.
When he clarified that with Harry that he was taking time off for his problem with masturbation addiction, not his dying father, Harry again responded with, "Take all the time you need, Winston. Your father is your priority right now. You only get this time with a dying loved one once."
But you just ask, is he just not listening? Is he deliberately misunderstanding?
Is it one of those things where, Albus would give Harry a bit of a wink wink.
Yeah, like I know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, something just fell, but it's okay.
It's all right. No one's debating. As Mr. Charger was away, the boys were unsure of who would be taking over their potion classes instead. Of course, we know, because we've read the chapter's title, that it was going to be Hagrid. All right, now we're getting into the real meat and potatoes.
Bit of cruel irony there. Like we've known the whole time. The boys are just finding out.
Boys are just standing there with their dicks in their hand, trying to protect them.
Going for a walk.
Going for a walk, go on the beach, put on some Robbie Williams. It's going to be Hagrid, said Rob. Does he even know about potions, said Michael. No, the narrator responded. But don't shoot the messenger. Remember that from just before?
That's the book.
Great callback. Yeah, no, that is still the book.
That's the book. That's not Zach
me.
saying that.
We're like, got a good one here. As the boys walked towards the dungeons for their potions lesson, the Jim Wilkins Choir continued to entertain students at the school with their creative songs.
So the Jim Wilkins Choir appeared in the first book, but they've been a mainstay in this book. Yep. They sing the same song every time with slightly different words. Oh, and we assume they're evil, but they haven't done anything evil, but they're friends with Mr. Charger.
Okay.
And it's also, it seems to be it's a choir of people, but they're all the same dude who's Jim Wilkins. So it's like he's cloned himself or something.
There's a lot of Jim Wilkins aligned with Charger, hasn't done anything necessarily evil just yet. It's a bit like the Dementors.
Yeah.
They all look the same. They haven't done anything strictly evil, but they are sort of aligned.
Sucking people's souls out, which is in a grey area.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of on the nose, and like the worst that they get is like a, hey,
stay away from the castle.
Just stay away from the kids. Sorry, mate. Okay. Have we had a consistent theme to this? I think I've got it. Okay.
Yeah, you might have.
Ring with the trolley.
Yeah, this is it.
Clang, clang, clang with the bell. People's dicks are getting chopped off now. Clownish Kimjiri can go to hell.
Okay.
I tried to shoehorn a couple of extra syllables there. I think it worked.
And you're a great singer. Well done.
Thank you. This is where it all begins.
Maybe you're the Jim Wilkins Choir. You did that so well.
The boys entered the potions classroom with Dimmy and Derek to see Hagrid diarrheaing into a potions vial. Sorry, I really just spat.
Dimmy is a new character.
That's not what I just spat all over Bikes.
Yeah, that's fine, man. There's been worse things than spit on that laptop. No, that was a bad joke. Dimmy is a new character, and if it's okay, I discussed this with Sam. I do all of Dimmy's dialogue. He's one of my favorite characters, and
is Dimmy the
Cartman kind of guy.
Cartman-y.
Yeah, and I just haven't found any of the guests have been able to nail his persona.
And I'm not a big I can't really do a good Cartman.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's better than Sammy's, but
yeah. Well, do you want? You can have a shot. You can have a shot at it if you want.
Sammy's is great. I was taking the piss because
right.
I can't do it.
Okay.
So you will have to stand in.
So he was filling a diarrhea potion. Is that?
Yeah. So no, he was.
Hang on. You've skipped? I think in your spitting, you've skipped like 3 chapters ahead.
I think I'm like 6 books ahead. Yeah. Well,
so you've somehow managed to go several pages, like 100, possibly 100 pages forward.
How is this so long?
Who
had this time,
mate? The shit I used to do with my time.
Apparently masturbating.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Drawing from some real life experiences.
Where are we? Sorry, guys. Sorry about this. Nah, we're down a bit. Down a bit.
Last bit.
We're here.
Yep. Great. The boys entered the potions classroom with Dimmy and Derek to see Hagrid diarrheaing into a potions vial. Don't mind me, said Hagrid. Just making a diarrhea potion.
And that was the best Hagrid we've had on this show.
Oh, thanks,
have you
mate.
read Hagrid before?
No, but a lot of times I'll just be walking around the house. My girlfriend will be like, hey, hon, all right? And I'll be like, Buckbeak! Buckbeak!
That is so... You stupid bird.
Yeah. Or if like my girlfriend's worried about something, I'll just be like, don't you think on that for 1 minute. Shit like that.
Don't think on it for 1 minute, Hermione. Yeah. That's so
filthy
good.
blood. I don't know.
I reckon, if you can give all of Hagrid's lines that commitment because he's obviously going to have a lot of lines in this
He's
chapter.
really going to step up.
Yeah.
And I will probably have to throw in a book beak just to get into that space.
Yeah.
But
I think the listeners are going to love where this is at. This is amazing, man. Well done.
that's all right. There's no dimmy lines here. Great. What's a diarrhea potion? Asked Derek Sporkley. Sporkley. Sporsley?
Sporcly. I'd say sporkly.
Sporkley.
I mean, it's not a word, so there's no point discussing it.
Yeah. Was that like as in the spork?
He asked the question in the style of a spork and a spoonful.
So it sort of can be, multifaceted.
It's got prongs, but it's also got a little bowl like.
Why? A potion that makes you do diarrhea, said Hagrid. But don't you already have diarrhea? Said Derek. Also, diarrhea, the way it's spelled, D-I-A-R-E-A. Diarrhea.
It is the logical way you might think it's spelled because it's a difficult word to spell.
It is. I mean, it's tough to spell. You've committed throughout the whole book. There's a lot of even just when you take a quick scan of the screen, a lot of diarrheas.
It's almost like this book is a lot like diarrhea.
Yeah.
Like it keeps coming out and you don't like it.
And it's all shit.
But you've got to keep going.
Hagrid stared blankly at the boys, almost though he was questioning the entire fabric of the parallax.
What is
Whoa!
What is the parallax?
Someone had the thesaurus out for this one. That's huge.
But what is the parallax?
Well, I will tell you if you don't have right click.
I'll tell you. If you tap with two fingers, there's a right click.
Oh, how about that?
I think, yeah. Oh, you got to. Oh no!
Oh.
I don't know what you've. Go.
All right, no, time
You've
out.
now zoomed in and skipped like another 100 pages.
I am such a boomer. Shit. I swear to God.
Where are we? This is the last chapter. Okay, so
mate.
we're somewhere.
No,
sorry about this, guys.
Real strong chop point.
Okay,
here.
we're here. So he was questioning the entire fabric of the parallax.
And of course, I don't think I need to sit here and explain what a parallax is.
We all know.
We're all across the parallax. Viciously Googles it. Finally, he said.
Oh no, I think it's
Hagrid, sorry.
narrator. Finally, he said.
Oh, and this is Hagrid?
Yeah.
Takes a diarrhea to know a diarrhea. So this is falling off the cliff. He then asked the
But
boys.
I also love that this is after, what is it? Staring blankly at the boys, questioning the entire fabric of the parallax. He just goes, takes a diarrhea to know a diarrhea.
Buckbeak. He then asked the boys if they wanted to get diarrhea. The boys said no, but Hagrid kept trying to slip them some of his diarrhea potion through the class.
Oh.
Yeah, diarrhea potion is really just a laxative. You don't need to be...
It's not really magic, is it?
And I guess, he's been diarrheaing into a vial.
Yeah.
So if you were to drink Hagrid's diarrhea,
You'd
would
probably
likely
get diarrhea.
it. Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing.
this is starting to all piece together.
Are the ingredients of a diarrhea potion just diarrhea?
He's basically saying, I don't know anything about potions, but if you drink my shit, you'll get diarrhea.
And that's magic. And that's a type of magic. Itself.
You're a wizard.
There was an earlier chapter where Harry was trying to distract the boys from something. And he's like, you guys want to see some magic? And he pulls a rabbit out of the sorting hat.
There was a lack of fun magic.
Like muggle magic.
Yeah,
pick
magic.
a card, any card,
Yeah,
Harry.
exactly, yeah. 3-card Monty.
Just imagine Dumbledore just was that your card? And Harry's like, no. It's
Yeah.
I swear it usually works.
And then he grabs it from behind his ear. He's like, ah!
Oh, God.
It's a 2. Like the amount of parents that died.
Yeah.
Hagrid, you realize you're just doing diarrhea into that potion. Wow. Once again.
So cutting it. We should have just kept reading, but we have to
Once
stop.
again, I take a pivot and I'm like, hey, man, you know what this is?
Don't you reckon this?
Don't you reckon this? And then 13-year-old Mark's like, yeah, mate, already wrote that.
Or one
Hagrid-
step ahead of you.
You realize you're just doing diarrhea into that potion. So by drinking the potion, it's not the potion giving you diarrhea through magic. I think it's just because you're ingesting your already diarrheaed out diarrhea back into your body. So it just comes back as worse diarrhea, said Luke. Great dialogue here.
Surely it'd eventually kill you as well. It can't be good.
I don't know, like Bear Grylls has been getting away with it.
Does he drink his own diarrhea?
I
He
didn't
drinks
catch
his
that
own
episode,
urine.
but I imagine it's like, it's full of vitamins and minerals.
Lots of protein.
Yeah. Oh, wow, it's a desolate environment. Get a look at that. Oh. It's a bit rich, but it'll get me through. Anyway, we should see if hopefully there's a Bear Grylls character in here. I can
coming in
work on
soon.
some of my- Hagrid yelled at Luke and asked him to pull his pants down and stand in the corner of the room. So I had a teacher like that. Facing the wall for the rest of the class. All of the boys thought it was hilarious that Luke's bum was just facing the whole time.
I think it's supposed to be facing them, but it's.
No, I think it's the.
Yeah, we do have to take it as it's written.
This is. I don't want to mess with the context. Yeah. And they kept laughing. Okay, said Hagrid. So Mr. Charger is away because of his jerky fun time.
I've never heard someone refer to it as that, but it makes sense. Jerky fun time.
You know exactly what someone's talking about, and it's certainly not the dried meats.
No. You know jerky fun time is...
It's a private session.
There's a meat involved.
Hey!
but it's not.
And if you jerky too much, it'll start looking like that. So I'm taking your potions class now. You better go to potions now. You better go to potions now.
So every chapter that Hagrid has appeared in, he just says to the boys, you better go to potions now. Even when they're at potions, like right now.
We're at potions, said Michael. The parallax, said Hagrid.
No.
So so parallax has come up in one part of your life. At some point, you're like, oh, this is going in the book.
Can we just pause though as well? Because now I have a fan theory that Hagrid, maybe part of why Hagrid seems so like mentally unhinged, he's got a receiver in his brain that's receiving everything the narrator's saying. Because the narrator said parallax.
Oh.
And suddenly Hagrid's like, the parallax.
The parallax?
It's like when Hagrid doesn't know what to say, he just says something.
He just says something and there seems to be a bit of rhyme and reason to it. Okay, said the boys in unison. Jordan Borden, said Hagrid.
Jordan Borden popped up in the last chapter. Hagrid just said it. And then he said, I'm just trying out a new catchphrase. And then I think Hermione said, is Jordan Borden a person or is that the new catchphrase? And then he just went, you better go to potions now. Oh, God.
Hagrid did the roll and noticed that Gemini Jones was absent from the class.
It's interesting.
The boys needed to get out of Hogwarts, get out of this class, get out of the entire insanity of the wizarding world. I think that we can all agree on. The trauma was too much. Hagrid set them to work on making a potion that made you into a giraffe. And when the boys went to get the ingredients, they noticed that some of the ingredients, such as boomslang skin and lacewing flies, were missing from the storeroom.
Now, how's your Harry Potter knowledge?
Now, this is probably a fold too deep for me.
Yeah, okay. So, as I remember it, in Chamber of Secrets, boomslang skin and lacewing flies are two crucial ingredients to the polyjuice potion.
Polyjuice, which takes a month to make.
Which suggests that perhaps someone in this book is using polyjuice potion because they're missing.
Snap. What a
Now that's just a fan theory.
They've been okay, that makes a lot of sense. And in the fourth book, when Snape is cracking it,
thinks Harry's doing it, but it's actually Barty Crouch Jr.
Fucking polyjuicing again.
Yeah. Now, what is interesting about this? Actually, I forgot. Don't worry.
Now, what is very interesting here?
It's completely. I forgot. I forgot. Sorry, guys. Write in if it's interesting.
Yeah, if you can remember what I was thinking of, write in. But it is very interesting.
Oh no, sorry. I remember what's interesting about it.
Right.
Oh shit! No, I forgot. No, it's coming to you. Keep talking for a sec because I'll remember it.
All right,
hang on.
What's interesting?
What is interesting about it is that it's gone.
Lacewing
Sorry,
flies.
guys.
Snape.
Yeah.
What's interesting?
I think it's gone. It's just gone. It's gone.
I guess what's happening with the poly? That's what we're wondering.
That's what we're wondering, yeah. Okay, I remember. I actually got it.
This is why. Is this a bit?
No. What's interesting about it is the chapter is AKA now the filler chapter. But there's still little breadcrumbs here that may be red herrings, but there are breadcrumbs, so you would have missed this.
You're right. If you skipped this filler chapter, which I'm sure if I was told that this was a filler chapter, I'd probably, I'd skim it.
Yeah.
No,
but
this is like,
you might be
pretty
disappointed.
critical points.
If that, and I also wonder when it said that Gemini Jones was absent, that also feels like a little bit of a breadcrumb. Like it just feels
most
like
definitely.
Out of everything in this chapter, but then I guess you could expand that to the parallax. Is that going to become a plot point?
Okay, there's a parallax, Gemini Jones is involved, and someone isn't who they say they are
Yeah.
because they got the polyjuice potion.
All right, we got it.
Before they could figure out what that could possibly mean, they were interrupted by Dimmy.
Oh, this is my time to shine. And you've still got to do the narrator bits, okay?
I'll
So,
jump
here
in,
we go.
yeah,
Hey, Hagrid.
said Dimmy.
My dad actually won a world record the other day for most chicks made out with in one day. It was 2.
I miss Madame Maxine, said Hagrid, who began rubbing his nipples.
So Dimmy...
Hagrid, I miss Madame Maxine. I can say it.
And we don't know what happened to Madame Maxine. I guess she might have died.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, well, Hagrid's still alive, though.
I mean, Hagrid compared to Madame Maxine was like a short king, really.
Why
was she so tall? Because Hagrid was
She
half
was
giant.
full giant, I think.
Was she full
Oh,
giant?
no, she couldn't have been.
No, the other giants are like...
You're like, nah, mate. She wasn't full giant. Maybe she...
Me with zero knowledge as to her origins,
She
I'm like,
couldn't have
there's
been.
no way.
But I think this is quite funny. My dad actually won a world record for most chicks made out within one day. It was 2.
That's, yeah.
Because I reckon I've been drunk at a nightclub when I was 20 and made out with like 5 chicks.
Whoa, buddy, slow down. That's
So I've got the world record.
the record holder. 13-year-old Mikey would have been stoked.
So Hagrid's rubbing his nipples.
Hagrid's rubbing his nips, kind of ignoring Dimmy. Mm-hmm. Also, Dimmy sort of out of left field here.
well, we don't know what the point of this character is, but
Right.
also I think Hagrid was reminded of Madame Maxine when Dimmy brought up making out
definitely.
with chicks. So
Because
that's
that was one of the 2 chicks that Hagrid's probably made out with.
Do you reckon, who's the other one, or do we not? We're just assuming
I always thought him and who's
Professor Sprout.
I was literally thinking Sprout.
Yeah, maybe they'd have a cheeky
Out in
patch
the
at the
courtyard.
yeah, some
he's
point.
like watering her plants and she's getting all like flustered.
Yeah,
Yeah. They pull out a fucking
a mandrake.
mandrake just so no one could hear them. Just. Oh. Why do you always talk about your dad, Dimmy? Said Michael. A good opportunity for asked Michael there. Yeah, said Rob. More appropriate, said. Everything you say about him kind of sounds completely made up and not true.
Which is true.
Which we kind of touched on. A tear appeared in one of Dimmy's eyes as he appeared very defensive.
Love this. Okay. You don't know anything about my dad? If my dad heard what you were saying about him, he'd beat you up right now, and I'd help him. Also, Rob, just wanted you to know, I know we're having a disagreement right now, but I can totally see girls having a crush on you. You're super handsome and cute. My dad said I could have 1 billion people at my birthday party this year, and I'd love for you to come. It's chick themed, so there's going to be heaps of chicks there.
That was a cheat code back in high school to getting chicks to come to your party. Well, it's chick themed. You have to be there. So, unlucky.
You either have to bring a chick or come dressed as a chick.
Yeah, either way. Chickens only. After collectively rolling their eyes, the boys remembered back in one of the earlier chapters in the books where they got to meet George Weasley at Weasley's Weasels.
Weezer, that's
Weezers?
their joke shop.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Oh,
Weasley's
that is
Wizard
that's a
Weezers.
real. You didn't.
That's a real.
I've
that's not-
just cooked that.
That's a J.K. Rowling classic.
Great. And he gave them the crying cream, the cream you rub on your asshole to make you start crying. I think I've tried that. The perfect way to get out of class.
That did happen in an earlier chapter.
Oh,
George
great.
Weasley gave them the crying cream and he said, rub it on your asshole, you start crying, you get out of class.
Is that just deep heat?
Yeah, I was thinking if you put deep heat anywhere in that area, you'd be close to tears.
Oh, you'd be welling up.
Yeah.
The boys took the crying cream out of their robes and each squirted a little bit of the cream onto their fingers. and put their hands down the back of their pants to begin rubbing the cream on their... I don't feel super comfortable reading this. It is getting a little...
But there's nothing sexual about it.
No, there's nothing. No, I just feel like... Probably could have just been like, they applied the cream.
Yeah.
They put it on their fingers, dripping.
Undid their belt buckles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Luke's in the corner of the room with his pants already down.
Well, he's primed and ready, isn't he?
I'll help you, Luke.
Okay, let's see how we go. They began rubbing the cream on their bums. Immediately, the boys began crying and raised their hands. Do you like that? See, this is still the narrator. Seemed like such a passing reference earlier in the book, but it came back here. Bet you weren't expecting that again, were you? Well, there are many unexpected things coming in this book.
So I think the narrator is referring to the crying cream. Like, you see, that felt like something small, but it's come back.
How good a writer am I?
It is that. And it's almost like he's deliberately trying to explain to us, hey, all these little things in this book are coming to fruition. So don't think anything's filler.
Don't forget anything. Read with a pencil in hand.
Yeah.
Circle the
Make notes.
Make notes. This is all coming back. And even if you miss it, I will point it out.
Yeah. Any miscellaneous object, name, spell, anything could come back.
Okay. Like what? Said Lockie. Because if it's a joke about masturbating, poo, boobs, or the Nutty Professor, we aren't expecting that.
Oh no, we are expecting, because the narrator's just said, what did the narrator say just before that? There are many unexpected things coming in this book.
Sorry, probably should have given it a bit more context. And also there is a clear conversation breaking the fourth wall here. Like what, said Lockie? Because if it's a joke about masturbating, poo, boobs, or the Nutty Professor, we are expecting that. Oh, said the narrator.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, Hagrid. We have to cry, so we need to go, the boys said. Hagrid stared blankly at the boys and got a mild stiffy. Okay. Fuckbeak.
Fuckbeak.
It's just a quarter chub. Hagrid stared blankly at the boys, got a mild stiffy, and said, "The parallax."
Is it like an evil cult or something?
Yeah, I imagine him just blank stare, sort of half-mast.
But
the parallax.
I reckon I read it like, and I love interpretations, but I read it more like the parallax. Like, he's still. Did you watch much South Park growing up?
I didn't. No. It was on the. Like, I have to watch it when Mum
isn't home.
Yeah.
Well, there's an episode where the character chef, the black guy who's like the chef at the school, the actual voice actor for that character left the show. So they had to write him out of the show. But because they were on bad terms with him, they couldn't get him to voice any more lines. So they just spliced up words he had said in the previous episodes to make him say lines so it sounded really disjointed. And that's kind of how I imagine Hagrid is speaking. Like, Jordan Borden. The parallax.
Oh, right.
You better go to potions. Like, that's just how I perceive it.
Oh, man, I got to start reading them all in the exact same tone to give it that, like, rhyme.
All right, so Hagrid's got a little stiffy.
So Hagrid is quarter chub. And so the chapter came to a natural conclusion with essentially nothing in this chapter, but I needed a way to bridge the last chapter to the next chapter because, well, from the next chapter, things really start to pick up for this book. Okay, I know I've kind of said that before, but we are really heading into the third act of this book now.
Like, you'd hope so.
Yeah, wow.
We're 22 chapters in. Yeah, probably on the fifth act of this chapter.
Seriously. So here's the last paragraph of the chapter. Ready? Go. As the boys left the classroom, they bumped into the person they least expected to see. A person they thought had been petrified by clownish Kimjiri himself, a ghostly figure floating around the hallways of Hogwarts, Dick hanging on by a single thread.
Oh, you don't know who it is, do you?
Well, it's nearly headless Dick.
It's nearly Dickless Ned.
Oh, damn it.
Nearly headless Dick's good as well. It kind of makes sense because that part of the penis is called the head.
The head of the
dick.
Nearly Dick.
That
Anyway.
was a fantastic read. Thank you so much, my man.
Oh man, there were highs and lows, but
Yeah,
certainly
there was-
no, it was fantastic, mate. It's great to be back in the great to be back in the rhythm of it. I can't wait to see what happens next. We got through the filler.
What were the highs out of interest?
Oh,
There were some of them.
I tell you what, mate, there are too many to count. Really, yeah.
What do you think? What do you reckon's going on here? Make a wild prediction.
Well, see, the challenge for me here is that there actually really wasn't much given away in this chapter. Now that I think, like, obviously, someone's mucking around with Apologise potion.
Yeah.
And I think Hagrid is starting to lose it a bit with his old age because I assume he's like 150 at
Yeah,
this
it'd
point.
be something like that. It's only Hagrid and Madame Pomfrey who are still alive from the original teaching staff.
Really?
Yeah.
Everyone else?
Yeah, they're all gone. I mean, yeah.
I guess it has
Dumbledore,
been
Snape,
50 years.
McGonagall, yeah, they're all dead.
Yeah, tough. I mean, we knew about Snape and
Yeah.
Gumby, but
Yeah.
how did McGonagall go out?
We don't know.
Well, hopefully that'll be revealed. Or more questions than answers, that's for sure. No, honestly, I mean, I think more is going to be revealed, and I've got to imagine there's some kind of chamber coming up.
Yeah. Whether it's a Chamber of Secrets or
Yep,
Fartrix or
yep, and they need to, chop off as many dicks as possible to
Yeah.
open the chamber. And
Possibly.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting. Looks like we'll pick up next chapter with Nearly Dickless Ned explaining or raising more questions. Zach, anything to plug, mate?
mate, just jump on the socials, Zach Curry. That is where you can find me. Just hanging out and be real.
Being real, yep. And as always, send in your owls, radiomikepod@gmail.com or radio.mike on Insta. I'll do an owl post episode this week. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/radiomike, and you'll come back at some point, surely.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope you will.
I wouldn't miss a beat.
It's like, I came into this, when I came on the first time, I said maximum 5 episodes, and this is your 5th, so thank you so much.
It's a good time to tap out. No, thanks, mate.
Awesome.
I'll be back.
Goodbye, Hamores. That was great. Thanks, mate.
Oh, no, good stuff, brother.
This episode of Harry Potter and the Boys was brought to you by Radio Mike on Patreon and the 20th Century Boy podcast. If you like Harry Potter and the Boys, support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, and check out my other podcast, 20th Century Boy, if you like hearing from me on this show, because the other podcast is just a lot more of me and a lot less Harry Potter. So I guess if you're listening to this pod specifically for Harry Potter, don't listen to 20th. Or do. No, I shouldn't say that because it's fine. Anyway. Support the show. Patreon.com/RadioMike. That's pretty much it, guys. I'll see you next week. This podcast was a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to check out all our other content, stay up to date at radio.mike on Instagram, and get in touch, radiomikepod@gmail.com.